The old John Candy hit movie Uncle Buck is now a television series that premiered on ABC last Tuesday and airs every single Tuesday, including tonight at 9 Eastern Time. And the man who plays Uncle Buck is back here on the Rich Eisen Show. Mike Epps, good to see you, sir.
Appreciate it, Rich.
How are
Good to
you?
see you, man? Oh, man, I'm really good, man. You know, hanging like wet clothes, you know.
That's a good thing, right? Hanging like wet
hanging
clothes?
like snot. You know, I got a...
Is that a good thing?
No, that ain't a good thing. I got a couple different ways I'm hanging, you know.
Yeah.
Hanging like wet clothes, hanging like snot, you know.
And yet you are hanging out as Uncle Buck on ABC right now, and you're going to play
know.
Richard Pryor in a new movie that's coming out as well.
Man.
Now, Law blew your mind when you sat down. You want to go through this sort of? The only thing that's missing is Kevin Bacon references or something.
Yeah, you're kind of like a 6 degrees of separation. Brewster's Millions, great movie. Richard Pryor and John Candy. You're playing John Candy's role in Uncle Buck. You're obviously playing Richard Pryor. So if they do a remake of Brewster's Millions, who do you play?
Yeah.
Which role do you go for?
I might play the $1 million, baby. I'm going to play the money. That is crazy. That's man.
Yeah, and then Richard Pryor's dad's name was Buck.
It was Buck, yeah, Leroy Buck.
And he's played by Eddie Murphy in the movie that you're doing with right now?
Well, that's what they saying. You know, you never know in the casting. You never know. You know, they put stuff out in the press, and then you know when you get there on the set, you looking for Eddie Murphy, and then the father from Good Times is staying there.
Then suddenly John Amos shows up.
Hey, I thought you. Yeah, I got the role. They called me last night.
Instead of being Eddie Murphy, it's Eddie Cibrian showing up. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't seem right. But you never know. Okay, so you're a Pacers fan. How does it sit watching LeBron do what he did for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Do you put your Pacer fandom aside? Are you a LeBron guy? Where do you sit on this whole subject?
No, you know, the thing of it is that by me being from Indiana, and Cleveland is our next door neighbor, of course I'm a roll with Cleveland. I'm going with LeBron.
You're fine with that?
I'm fine with it. And the fact that I watched LeBron really worked hard. He really worked hard, you know. He worked hard, and he didn't get a lot of breaks when it came to having people there to help him. Kyrie Irving came through.
He sure did.
He came through.
And Love was the one that was really crucial because
Love was crucial.
It sure sounded like LeBron handpicked Kevin Love and got rid of Andrew Wiggins, whose points might have come in a little bit handy from time to time against Golden State.
Oh, yeah.
And Love's output was kind of matching his uniform number more often than not against the Warriors. But then Game 7 happened. He was really good in Game 7.
Game 7, man. I mean, I really think Green getting suspended had a lot to do with the momentum. You know, I think it threw the momentum off in the series. And I'm real interested to see what might have happened if he wouldn't have got suspended. It might have been
Game 5 might have been a different result, to say the least.
No doubt.
And, you know, that may have been the turning point of the entire series. 2:42 to go, fourth quarter, fourth game. They're going back home to Golden State 3-1. If they had only just gotten out of the arena without Draymond Green hitting somebody in the nether region, that would have made it a different story.
Yeah,
but he seemed to have a problem with that, Mike. You know, he seemed to have a problem. Like he kind of kept finding everybody's below the
private
belt.
parts.
Private parts, yeah.
Yeah, somebody told him that if you score right there, you might mess up the other score.
Is that what somebody whispered in his ear, that whole thing?
Somebody told him that, man. And what people don't realize, especially women don't realize that, man, that is so sensitive. I mean, God, my kids, I was just playing with my kids one time and they just tapped them and I went crazy. Oh, God.
So Draymond was at your house? Is that what you're saying?
No.
You know.
Draymond Green.
Yeah. Coming to your house and just tapping it. Yeah.
And then just walk away.
That's why I can't even imagine how these guys would actually stay in the game. Steven Adams in Oklahoma City.
Ooh.
Got it a couple times.
Man.
Right in the nards. And that was
Iguodala, he got it one game.
He did.
Ooh.
Dellavedova just went ahead and hit him.
Ooh. It hurt just talking about it.
And my little kids couldn't get enough of it, actually.
Ooh.
They found that very funny.
They did find it
they did.
funny?
And I kept telling them, let's not find this funny.
Yeah, kids, don't laugh at these other kids getting hurt.
Otherwise, they might be out there at the Y, just starting hitting everybody right below the belt.
Yeah.
So are you concerned about the progress of your Pacers right now? Any concern about that, Mike Epps?
I mean, you know, the thing of it is that, you know, I was really happy to see Cleveland win because it it actually gave me some hope. And I said, you know, the Pacers is always a team that's always building on trying to get further in the league, get further in the championships. And you know, we've always had potential to do it. We're there every year, and we just got rid of Frank Vogel, which was I didn't really like that. That was not a great decision.
Yeah,
to
that
me.
came out as kind of. I mean, you were hearing the rumors about it, but
Yeah, it wasn't a coaching. I don't think it was. I don't think the Pacers had a coaching issue. I think it was. I think it was just putting pieces together, putting some extra guys that really work with Paul George because we got a star, you know, and I think that's like the same thing with LeBron. You got the star, you got to find those extra pieces to take you over the top.
to go around them.
Oh, yeah.
And right now they don't have them.
Yeah, you know, it's been, you know, every time the Pacers have had a great nucleus team, something always happened where we end up having to bust them up. You know, like if we had kept that team that we had that was going against LeBron 2 years ago, we would have been right there this year. We probably would have won, but, you know.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, the Pacers were in the mix for the whole conference shooting match.
Man, you hear me? I mean, the last step was Miami, and we got beat out in Miami. But the next year they busted up Miami's team, and then the Pacers busted up too. So I'm like, we should have stayed together. We would have been right there.
Mike Epps here on the Rich Eisen Show. I mean, Reggie Miller, Rick Smits, that era of Pacers,
Man,
was just also, it's just kind of at the wrong time because Jordan was just going ahead and crushing everybody's soul.
yeah, we always have a great team. At the same time, there's another great team. We need to keep that great team and let them other teams water down.
You're right. You're right. You know, because Reggie's basically saying that there should be no conversation about LeBron and Jordan, Mike, because no matter how good LeBron just was or might be, he wasn't 6 for 6 in finals like Jordan, and that Jordan just was on a whole different level.
He was.
Playing
I mean, and if you look at it that way, of course, Jordan is going to always beat out LeBron in numbers, but LeBron still got a chance to win him 3 more rings if he gets an opportunity to do it. His stats and his numbers will never match up to Michael Jordan, but like I said, it's a generation thing. Because you got some kids walking around here who says LeBron James is the best player. And if you say Michael Jordan, they like, Michael who?
Yeah, he was the one on Twitter who's crying all the time.
Yeah.
That's what the kids are probably going to say.
They really do. And I got a daughter that's 11 years old that wears Jordan. And one day I come downstairs with a pair of Jordans on. She's like, you too old to wear them. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I don't want no young dad, no old young daddy. And I said, well, what you mean by that? She said, you got the shoes that I wear. I had to sit her down and explain to her and tell her that when these shoes came out, that was my time. Like, these shoes are not new, little girl. She didn't even know that was Michael Jordan on the back of the shoe doing this.
Who did she think it was?
She thought it was just a design, a butterfly. I had to show her this is a head, this is his hands, and this is his arm. Then I went on the internet and showed her, that's Michael Jordan. She was like, oh, I didn't know. I was like, yeah.
So you're saying she's going to get you for Father's Day, or she did get you Steph Curry's new shoes? Is that what you're saying?
I ain't wearing it.
What is up with that?
I ain't got nothing to wear with Steph Curry's shoes. You can't, you know, Michael Jordan shoes, you can actually wear those number ones with a suit.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we've seen that. Haven't we seen that? Who wore it?
Jason Sudeikis wore 11s to the Golden Globes.
To the Golden Globes. That's where we saw that,
He
right?
wore 11s. You see what I'm saying? So Jordan's shoe is dress shoe.
Universal.
Yeah, you can't wear a LeBron James shoe with a 3-piece suit.
No chance.
It's too fat at the bottom.
Too
the
bulky.
ankle. Yeah, it looked like you got 2 casts on your feet.
Mike Epps is here on the Rich Eisen Show. We're back in 60 ticks to the clock with the star of Uncle Buck that premiered last Tuesday on ABC. Episode 2 airs tonight at 9 Eastern Time. Back with Mike Epps and the Rich Eisen Show in just 60 ticks.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
So there's lots of reasons to congratulate you, Mike Epps. That you just went back and got your high school degree in Indianapolis. You just went back home and
Yeah.
and finished up.
I got a high school diploma, man. It was cool, man.
Which school is this?
Arsenal Tech High School
In Indianapolis?
in Indianapolis. Trey Lyles plays for Utah.
We're showing a shot of you standing there in the green cap and gown. That's your mom right
That's
there?
my beautiful mother right there, yeah.
Wow.
She was so happy for me. And a lot of people were, when you look at the building and you look at it real good, a lot of people think I graduated from prison. Kind of looks kind of like
don't-
Alcatraz a little bit.
They
in
don't
the
give
back,
a cap
right?
and gown for that, do they?
No, you don't get no cap and gown. You get a little lunch, a little milk with a salami stuff.
And the belongings you walked in with,
Yeah,
back in a paper bag.
I got my high school diploma, Rich, and my mother was sitting there crying. I'm like, "Why are you crying, Mom?" She said, "I'm just so happy you didn't skip school today."
So your mom's got a sense of humor too.
Oh man, she's hilarious. My mother, when she asked me for money, you know how she asked me?
How?
She said, "I bet you won't give me $1,000." I said, "I bet I won't either." How can you win that bet? You know, if you don't give it to her, you lose. If you give
Of course,
it to her, you
but
win.
she's your mom, right?
That's
Is that
right.
something you always promised her that you'd do? That go back and finish your high school?
No, I didn't.
Courses?
You know what? It came out of me doing a good deed. I was giving away some scholarships to the school, and I guess, in the process of me giving away the scholarships, the school said, "You know what? We're gonna do something for Mike because he's always here at Tech doing something, doing some nice things." And they surprised me with it, man. I
did.
came to give away the scholarships, and they said, "We got something for you," and they gave me my high school diploma.
That's fantastic. Now, how did you get started in comedy? What was your first gig?
My first gig was at this bar and grill called Seville's. Well, a couple of my friends, they said, "You know what? You funny around the neighborhood, but I bet you ain't funny in front of a crowd of people." I said, "You want to bet?" So they betted me a couple of dollars, and I went to this bar and grill, man, and they had like 14 comics signing up to do this open mic comedy night
Is this in Indianapolis?
in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Up on the north side, 71st and Michigan Road. And man, the crowd was crazy. It was noise. Everybody was drunk. And everybody that got on stage, they was booing them all. Boo, get out of here, get out of here. And man, while I was waiting to go up, I was getting drunk. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be just like you talking to you. And I'm getting drunk. And I went up last and I made everybody laugh. And everybody was laughing. And now I'm on the radio because I won the comedy competition.
Okay.
And my mother and everybody, because they had this comedy competition, and I won. It was all on the radio. It was like, "Come back next week to see your winner, comedian Mike Epps." And my whole neighborhood was like, "Man, I heard you on the radio. Oh man, blah, blah, blah." So I got a little arrogant. Went and got me a suit. I had a 3-piece suit.
Three-piece.
3-piece. I had the,
You had the vest?
Yeah, the tie.
Okay. Okay, you went out and got it.
So I invited
For the radio.
For the radio. Prima donna, right?
Yeah.
So I invited my whole neighborhood, my mother, everybody to the show the next week. But I didn't get drunk, Rich.
And you were not funny?
And I went up and they booed me off in front of the whole community.
I don't know if I like the moral of this story, Mike. I don't know if this is a good
man.
moral for the story for the kids out there.
Yeah,
right now,
my
to be honest with you.
mother and them was like, "What happened?" And my buddy's just standing there like, "Man, you should have had a drink." And so I came back the next week,
Yeah.
and I won the comedy competition, and I moved to New York, and I got on Def Comedy Jam, Russell Simmons Def Comedy Jam.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was basically like gig 3, gig 4 was on Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam for you, basically?
No, I
were
moved,
out there for a
yeah,
while?
I moved to New York and I ran around for
Okay.
2 or 3 years and got my craft together. Then I got a chance to. I actually did Showtime at the Apollo. Remember that TV show?
Of course.
Yeah.
Who would anybody else that we would know that you were performing with?
Showtime at the Apollo. Steve Harvey was hosting it.
Oh my gosh.
He had hair then.
Did he announce the proper
Yeah. No, he said my name was wrong too. He said, "Give it up for Gary Coleman." I mean,
You know what? I feel for him. Everybody says he's like the nicest guy who has struck it rich. Like good things happen to good people too. That sort of thing.
He is a good dude.
He's on ABC doing the Family Feud too, coming up.
Oh yeah.
So Steve Harvey was hosting it. That's
Steve
great.
Harvey was hosting, and then
Wow.
I did the first episode, first television show of The Sopranos that was on HBO.
No kidding.
James Gandolfini.
I don't. Okay. And
It was a show called Sopranos.
no, I
It
know
was a
that. But
gangster
you
flick.
were in this.
Yeah, I was in the first
No,
episode.
I don't recall you being in it. Is what I'm saying. No, I know Sopranos.
I didn't even know who I was, so I know you didn't.
Did you get whacked
I did get whacked.
in the first episode of The Sopranos?
Well, you know, black people die in the first episode of everything. Horror movies, gangster movies, we out of there. I mean, it's in the contract. You know, they say, hey,
in the
we want you for the
contract.
movie, but you know the rest, right? It's like, yeah, okay,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna die.
gosh! So you were in the first episode of The Sopranos. You got that checked off.
And I did my first film with Vin Diesel. It was one of Vin Diesel's. He did an independent film for $100,000, and it was called Strays. You can find it on Amazon. It's one of Vin Diesel's first films.
Yeah.
And how I got in that film is I was standing there on the set watching them filming, and I was making everybody laugh. And Vin Diesel came over and said, "What's so funny over here?" And I was like, "Me." And he said, "Can you? Are you a comedian?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a comedian." He said, "Can you act?" I said, "Yeah." So he had me come in and audition, and I got in Vin Diesel's first movie role.
That's it. You cracking people up, and he put you in. Mike Epps here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, is it safe to assume that Richard Pryor was an idol of yours, or
No doubt. Richard Pryor.
who else? Anybody?
Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Buckwheat has just been shot. I repeat, buckwheat has just been That was my favorite when I was a kid, man. I loved
Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. Also,
Oh, man.
all of those skits.
Eddie Murphy was a bad influence on us back then. And a good one.
Yes. I thought you went bad as the good idea right there. And so now you're going to be playing Richard Pryor in an upcoming film.
Biopic.
Yes. Is It Something I Said is the name of the film. And there you are on your Instagram account, radio audience, for showing that up right now. That's you as Richard Pryor.
Yeah, man.
What do you think when you see that, Mike Epps? I mean, that's pretty incredible.
You know, man, Richard Pryor was in the process of learning about who he was. It changed my life, you know, because what it showed me and what it told me was that, guess what, man? You'll never be this great when it comes to comedy, Mike. You might be great to somebody else, but you'll never be this great. That guy paved the way, kicked down the door for all of us. He talked about stuff in the 60s that is prevalent now, about police brutality and everything, man. You know, what was so funny about the whole Richard Pryor thing was that he was really pro-black, but he didn't like black women. All his wives was white women.
Yeah, Kate Hudson plays your wife in the film.
Yes.
Right.
Excited about that. And I can't wait to get on that movie set. But, you know, the thing of it is that Richard Pryor was a very complex guy, man, you know. And I sat with him for a year before he passed away. And, man, he was really, really a real dude. And it actually showed me, it said, you know what, Mike? You're not crazy at all. You don't have no heart. And it made me say, you know what? Because for a long time, you know, as a comic, you know, you try to, and I bet athletes do the same thing. You read about great athletes, you read about great people that were in your life before you, and you try to model yourself behind them. But man, when it's time to do it, you realize you don't have enough heart, and that's just not your life. So you just go the path that you're supposed to go and take, you know.
Well, congratulations to you on Uncle Buck, that film, getting your high school diploma. You came here a year ago. I appreciate you coming back. You are welcome here anytime.
Oh,
Mike.
Rich, man, you always keep it cool,
Thank you.
man. You know what I'm saying? And
Thank
you know
you.
what, man? Let's get our one day let's just get our Cadillacs together, man, and ride. I heard you got a nice Cadillac, man.
Are you talking figuratively, like a figurative cat? Or
No,
my
somebody
car?
said they seen you on Crenshaw with a Cadillac with a diamond in the back.
Well, I was looking for somebody to put some respect on my name. Mike.
Birdman, he gave you a shout out. Birdman, put some all three
That's
of
what I
you.
was like. I was just looking for anybody to do that.
He didn't know what
kinda
that
sad.
meant at the beginning of the show.
It's okay.
Amazing.
It's okay.
Oh, put some respect on that, Rick.
That's right. Thanks for coming in, Mike.
Thanks, Rick.
Mike Epps, the real Mike Epps, as he's known on Twitter, at the real Mike Epps. We're back with more to finish up this show. Let you know what's coming out the rest of the week here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.